Hi, it's great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. Welcome. And if you're returning, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Today is a air quality day. My air quality here in Northeast Indiana is at 130. And so I'm kind of stuck in the house because I fall in the sensitive range. So I have to really limit my time outside. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to show you how I make homemade paper using junk mail. You can do this craft with your kids. It's a lot of fun, and it's a really simple, basic way of doing it. Nothing fancy. So come on, and I'll show you how to do it. This is just some of the equipment that I use. This is a mold and deckle. As you can see, it's just a wooden frame, and it has a little mesh in the back, and it has hinges, and it just opens up like this. This is a bigger one, and then I have a smaller one as well, and this one opens up like this. And I got them both off of Amazon, and they weren't very expensive at all. And this one is kind of interesting. I made this one out of a picture frame from the Dollar Tree, and I just duct taped it up. I took an old screen. This is just a window screen, one of those screens that opens like this. And it was just an old one, and I just cut the screen out and I duct taped it all the way around. And it's a little more difficult to use than one of these mold and decals, but it's not impossible. And then I also have a sponge, and I picked this one up at Walmart. And then I have a blender. I would suggest if you have an old blender that you can use, to use that and not use your food blender. But if all you have is your food blender, then as long as you give it a good wash afterwards, it should be fine. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Um, this is an old blender. I bought one to match the kitchen, and so I just use my older one for paper making. And I have a little basket here. And this is just some paper Vincent shredded for me at work. Otherwise, you can just take some junk mail and just rip it. And you just want it to be in small pieces like this. And it takes a while to rip it all up. But, you can put on your favorite videos and watch your videos while you're tearing it up. So either way, you don't have to have a paper shredder. It's just nice, that's all. Then I have some cotton cloths that I cut up. And when I cut these up, I cut them up. It was before I got my bigger mold and deckle. So I cut them up to fit this. And I'll show you how I use them. But that's it. And some towels. I'll show you what we're going to do with those as well. Also, I filled my sink up with water. Usually when I'm making a lot of paper, I'll get a tote. But just for the video today, I just wanted to show you something really simple, really basic that you can just do. You don't really need anything fancy, but I just filled up my sink with water instead of using my tote. And so I'm going to show you how to do this, and it's pretty simple. So the first thing you're going to want to do, get your paper. You're going to put it in your blender. And you don't want to overfill it, or else your blender won't be able to chop it all up. So just put maybe like that much. What is that, like a third or something? And then you're going to add water to it, because what we're going to do is make pulp out of it. You just add water. You want to make sure the paper is covered. And then I have this little spatula that I use, and I just make sure it's all pushed down in there. And I want to make sure that there's more water than paper. And then you'll put your lid on it, and then I turn it on high. And you just want to chop it up really good. You want to make sure that it's really, really good. You want it to be like liquefied. So you see, it's pretty much liquefied. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pour it in here, okay? And then we're going to repeat the process. So what we're making here is just pulp. It's just paper pulp. That's all that it is. I'm going to do the little one first. So you want to make sure that the way you put it into the water is with this on top, the part that opens, and your mesh is on the bottom. So you just dip it in the water and gently pull it straight up. And you're going to let your water drain out. Like so. And then this is what you'll have. Paper pulp. And then you're going to take your little piece of cotton if you have one, and if you don't, that's okay. And then you'll gently lift this up and see there's a piece of, looks like a piece of paper. And you'll flip it over onto your cotton or your towel or whichever. And then you'll have it down, and you're going to take your sponge and you're going to soak up any excess water. Be firm but gentle. You want to make sure you get all along the edges, like so. Sometimes I would go like this with it. Just like that. And then you'll just gently lift up your mold and it should stick. And then you have a piece of paper. Then lay it aside and let it dry. I'll show you how to do the bigger one too. Same idea, but since it opens like a book this way, we still want this part to be on the top and the mesh to be on the bottom. And so you're just going to slip it into the water all the way down to the bottom and then very gently bring it up like so. Flip it into the bottom and then very gently bring it up. Just let your water drain out. Just like that. And see, since this one doesn't have any cotton to go under it, we're just gonna put it on the towel. See, so you wanna be able to open it this way. So we'll open it and we'll gently flip it like so. And take our sponge and firmly but gently soak all the water out, like so. Just like that. And ever so gently, just lift it up. So if it sticks like that, you know there's still water there. So just dab it just a little bit, and it should just come right off. And there you go. Now you have a nice little piece of paper. And you can set it to the side, but you have to handle it gently. You have to handle it gently, but you can move it as long as you're gentle with it, and just set it aside and let it dry. Maybe all you have on hand is a picture frame, an old screen, and some duct tape, and I'll show you how to do it with this. It's the exact same process. So we'll take it like this. Make sure you get a lot of pulp in it. Move it around a little bit, whatever. And then just pull it straight up. And then gently turn it over like that. Just like that. Maybe you don't have a sponge, so you can use a dish towel even. I'll show you. Works just the same. You just want to make sure you soak up all that extra water. That's really all you want to do. Doesn't matter if you use a towel or a sponge. A sponge is just a little easier, but you don't have to use a sponge. Because your towel does get wet. It is water, and you do soak up a lot of water. Very gently. You have a piece of paper. As long as you're very gentle, because this will be a little more wet than that is. Just ever so gently pick it up and you can move it. And there you have 3 different methods of paper. That's why this cotton sheet is a little easier, because you can just pick up the cotton and move your paper wherever you want. So that's why it's a good idea. You could take an old t-shirt, you could take an old bed sheet, whatever, just so long as it's cotton, and it will absorb the water. It makes it a lot easier. So it'll take about 12, 24 hours or so for your paper to completely dry, but let me show you what it looks like when it's done. This is paper that I've already made. I made it probably a couple months ago, but this is the one I used, the picture frame method to make these papers. And then these are some of the smaller ones that I used the tiny mold and deckle for. No. You see how, like, using the junk mail and stuff, it puts little speckles in it, and it's really cute. I like it a lot. So what I'll do is see, it's not very flat. And the edges, I love the edges like this. It gives it that kind of like old paper look. But you can always trim it up and, make it look real pretty if you want. This is an old crafting iron I have. But what I'll do is I'll make sure the steam is completely turned off, and I turn it all the way up as high as it'll go, and I let it get really hot. And then you can just iron your paper out. Just like this. You can get all the creases out of it and smooth it out really nice. You can get real fancy if you want and get you a paper press and all that kind of stuff. This is just how I do it. It's quick, it's simple. There you go. It's a nice flat piece of paper. See how it flattened it out really nice? And give it a good press with your iron. So as you can see, it's nice and flat now. There's still some bumps in it, but this is the one from the picture frame. So it's not going to be as smooth as if you used a mold and deckle, but you can write on it. So here's with the pencil. Okay. Here's with an ink pen. And here's with a marker. Doesn't bleed through or anything like that. You can also fold it in half. So you can use it for like book paper. You can paint on it. Do whatever you want. It's a regular old piece of paper now, just a little thicker. I'm also going to show you something else I do with paper that I think is really fun. And it's kind of cool, especially if you like to make journals or anything like that. So all you do is you just set your oven to 200, make a pot of coffee. If you can, make a strong pot, make it nice and dark. And then you're going to get some paper. Usually I would use printer paper, but I'm out, so I'm going to use some notebook paper just so I can show you the idea. And you put it in a cookie sheet like so. And then you're going to take your coffee. You can use tea as well, a really nice dark tea. And you just pour it on there like so. You want to soak it in there real good. Your coffee doesn't have to be hot. It can be cold, just so long as it's dark. This isn't dark. It's not as dark as what I would usually use. I'm just drinking it. You can use notebook paper, but like if I'm making a journal, I would rather use like printer paper, so it doesn't have the lines in it. But I've also used notebook paper too, like for my junk journals that I like to make. So you just soak it on there. You get that coffee on there really good. You can just take your other piece. Do the same thing. I wouldn't suggest using homemade paper for this only because it's made out of like a pulp, and this paper is a little tougher. The homemade paper might dissolve. I'm not really sure. I've never done it. Guess we could try it. It's a good idea. We'll try it to see if it even works. Yeah, let's just get all that coffee on there real good like. Let it soak. Let it soak in there real good. Make sure our paper is nice and covered. And then we'll pour a little of this excess out. And then we're going to stick it in the oven until it dries. That's what it's going to look like. If it's still got some coffee in there, that's okay. And then we'll just stick it in the middle of the oven. Like so. Until it dries. Okay, I got another cookie sheet. Here is a couple of sheets of the homemade paper that I already had. We'll stick them on there. We'll do the exact same process. Some coffee. Now let's see. Oh, doesn't feel like it's dissolving. Seems like it's holding up pretty good. It's a great idea. You had to try this. Thanks. Yeah, I never thought about doing this. I always just figured it would just dissolve in the water. Because it's just different than notebook paper, but I guess it is just paper. I don't know. Let's see, can we pick it up? Oh no, you won't be able to pick it up. Well, nope. It'll rip if you pick it up. So, okay, so we just leave it sit in there and just slosh it back and forth maybe. It's not dissolving, so that's good. Oh, it might. Okay, so okay, so if we just soak it in there for a little bit, let's see. So that's what it would look like. It's darker, that's for sure. Huh. It's kind of pretty. Let's see. Let's put it in here and check it out. This first batch of paper is all done. I'm going to show it to you right now. And that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. It's really cool, right? It's nice and crispy and crinkly. Now again, you know, if it's a little you know, you want it a little smoother, you can always just run an iron over it. See how the coffee does the edges? It gets them really dark. I think it's really neat. I'm still waiting on the homemade paper to dry. I did bump the oven up to 225 though to try to help speed up the process a little bit more. Because that paper is so much thicker, it's just going to take a little bit longer. But I just checked on it and it's not like dissolving or anything like I was afraid it would do. So that's pretty cool. So I'm really excited to see how it turns out. I'm really glad you thought of that idea. See, that's why I like hanging out with you. Okay, so this is our homemade paper that we stained with coffee. It's not very pretty, honestly. It's kind of cool still because, you know, it's got the ruffled edges. And this one took a little bit longer to stain. So it looks like up close. I wonder what it would look like. Let's see if we can fold it. Oh yeah, you can still fold it. Yeah, look, you can still fold it. That's cool. Good to know. See what it looks like when we write on it. Well, you can still write on it too. Right there. Let's with a pen. Let's try a pencil. And it's a little harder to see with pencil, but you can do it. Here's a marker. That's what it looks like with a marker. So I'm going to take an iron to it, and I'm going to see what it looks like after I iron it out. Okay, so let's put an iron over this paper and see what it looks like. I have no idea what it's going to look like. Reminds me of like an old pirate treasure map. Like I should put a big black X on it. It irons out pretty good. I mean, pretty basic. Same as if we didn't stain it. And there's what it looks like. It ironed out pretty good. I like to iron this side a little bit. Let's see if we can still fold it even after it's been ironed. Yep. Still folds really well. Well, look at that. Now I'll talk about some old looking paper. That's pretty cool. Honestly. It's been a little over 12 hours and this is the paper that we made yesterday and it's completely dry. This is the paper made with the picture frame. It's kind of bumpy, but it's okay. We can iron it out if we want. And this is the one made with the mold and deckle. And this is the little one. See, they come out really nice. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me today. I hope I showed you how to do something new. And you can take any of these processes and tweak them and use them to, you know, to suit you. It's however you want to do it. It was really fun and I liked experimenting with the homemade paper and staining it with coffee. That was a really interesting thing to do. So thanks a lot for hanging out. And if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos, hit the subscribe button. It really helps out. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a great day and I'll see you on the next one.